Hello and welcome to Mouse House Plus episode 26. I am Hank.
And I'm John.
And we're your hosts on this special edition of Mouse House Plus. This is episode 5 of season 1. I'll recap the journey into mystery, which is already the first Easter egg of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
So from the 1962 comic where Silver Age Thor and Loki debuted. So that was pretty cool. And then Wayne had another Easter egg, but I didn't get to it until he told me about it.
And what was that?
It is the Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Oh.
It's like 10 seconds into the episode, and you're like, what? And he mentioned it, and it's in his feedback, so we will circle back around on that. All right. The camera angle on the intro, John, really, really messed me up. I'm not going to lie. I was like twisting and turning.
I did the same thing. I'm like, why? I don't really feel that this is necessary. I mean, I don't know. I didn't think it was that important for them to have to do it. I mean, it's great camera angling, but
right?
Yeah, no, didn't need that.
No, and it really disoriented me. I'm not going to lie. I was sitting out in there just like trying to track it and trying to take notes. So we join our Lokis in the void where there's a giant smoke creature named Goliath. And did you think that this had like that Lost feel?
Oh my God, the whole episode is a lost feel. I mean, then they escape going down a hatch.
And somebody's driving a car on the island.
Yep.
Hey, Hurley, slow down over there. So they did have a lot of Lost shout-outs. It was fun. We'll get to Goliath later when we talk about what Wayne had pointed out to me. All right. Also, we see the giant. Is that just say Kang in just a different way? Qeng on the Avengers Tower, or used to be Avengers Tower?
Okay, so in the comic books, what happens is one of the ways that Kang gets into the Marvel universe in the 616 and tries to like take over is he does it through like a business approach. So what happens is that's actually that happened where in the comics he bought the Avengers Tower, or he bought someone's tower. And anyway, that name right there is a direct link to Kang.
That is crazy that they're just thumbing their nose at us. And
I mean,
and they might just be doing this for the heck of it, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's our Mephisto right now.
Yes, he is.
Come on. I couldn't have the episode without saying Mephisto, right?
Nothing can transpire in Marvel without Mephisto. That is outstanding. Oh, my goodness. I'm laughing.
So okay, I found it here. It says that the Kang Enterprise, the company Tony Stark sold his famous tower in the 2015 Avengers comic run. The Kang CEO was mysterious Mr. Griffin, an alter ego of Kang the Conqueror who became trapped in the 21st century Earth.
Okay. Interesting. Well, it was a good one. And then please tell me that was just a yellow jacket, giant helmet, and not his head inside too. I
mean, who knows? At this rate, it could be anything.
And also,
that mirrors. I think there was the Old Man Logan series that had Logan coming across the giant man, but it's basically just a skeleton. So that's kind of a toss out to that.
And then the Living Tribunal. Was that just a stone like made up of them, or
that one is definitely the Living Tribunal. What it could have been prior, I have no idea. Because the thing is, the Living Tribunal is so high up in the perspective of things that are the most powerful in the entire universe.
How are you going to prune that?
Yeah, you can't.
Right.
Because he exists in all realities.
And that's goofy if they say they did. Especially as we're seeing how they're getting dismantled. It's kind of unbelievable. But there's more stuff. We'll get to it. As the episode unfolds, we'll get to more Easter eggs. Sylvie is interrogating Ravonna when Ravonna says, hey, I can get you all these files, all this stuff. And she's basically just bargaining to save her own bacon. And she explains pruning. So she understood pruning before all of this, which is kind of good. And then it's a void at the end of time. And were you kind of surprised that Sylvie trusted her to give her back that Tim pad?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If she's playing this long con, like I seriously, I thought, I'm like, okay, well maybe she's coming around. And then whenever they're drawing out the they're looking for an answer to how to get there, I'm like, oh, she's swapping back around again. I'm like, so she's got more. I mean, no one should trust her at all for anything right now,
No.
because so far her track record is a big old fat goose egg.
And she's got a lot invested, it feels like, where she doesn't want this little house of cards to fall down.
Yeah.
And it could be something more than she's letting on as well, too, as we've said all along. But we'll see.
Did you see the pile of trays in the background, by the way?
Yes. Yes.
And
we'll get that. We'll get to we'll get to the rest of that stuff in that.
Okay.
As we go down the hatch. Because Loki has questions right now. And, all right, please correct me if I'm wrong about this. But in the beginning here, doesn't Loki say that he's not surprised that there's an alligator version of him?
Yes, he said that.
Okay. And then later in the episode, he says a line that's totally contradictory to that, unless I'm just hallucinating or something. Because later in the episode, he says something like, "You're telling me he's a Loki or something?" I'm like, wait a minute, we already established this.
Well, I mean, yeah, but he said that, but no one actually said, yeah, he's a Loki.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he just has the horns on his head, and I mean, I guess he just automatically just assumed, but nobody ever clarified if he was a Loki or not.
Okay. We find out that Alioth consumes matter and energy. And then Kid Loki says he killed Thor. That was his big moment, his big I don't know. Why am I losing my words today?
Yeah, his event that caused the TVA to
Nexus event. Yes.
So with this,
as we go down the hatch, yep, that's where we see the trays, and we see Mjolnir, and
Hold on. So when we go back to Thor Ragnarok, Thor talks about how this one time where Loki turned himself into a snake, and Thor was like, "Oh, and I like snakes," and he picked it up, and then he went and stabbed me in the chest, and then ran off. Maybe I thought he was bad. So people are theorizing that point right there, because he was talking about when they were kids, is that Thor died there.
Ah, okay. On a different timeline.
Yes.
Okay. Weird. So we see Mjolnir, and then we see Frog Thor in a jar labeled T365.
Yep.
You want to tell them what the T365 is?
That is the episode of Thor that showed the Frog Thor for the first time.
Okay.
The official I can't say it now because, sorry, my son keeps calling him Throg, so I'm just going to stick with that. So I did a small dive into this, and that the original Throg was actually a person who got cursed and turned into a frog, and at some point in time ends up picking up Mjolnir, and it turns him into the Thor frog. So he's not really a different Thor; he's a person, but it did the same thing that like Beta Ray Bill did. Okay. But the comic book that is referenced on this bottle, that is a version of Thor. So there's technically like two of them. One of them from a different world, and one of them is actually from the 616. Just not really Thor.
Weird.
He was just given a hammer, like how Beta Ray Bill, like Mjolnir created another copy of itself, and they gave that to a Beta Ray Bill. Same thing happened with the frog.
Okay, if he's worthy, can he just summon one of the, even though it's a different timeline or something? Mjolnir.
Maybe he doesn't know it's there, because remember, Mjolnir is buried above him.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but wouldn't you just give it a go, like Thor does?
Sure.
Like, any minute now. Any minute.
Yeah, he's got the umbrella, being like, yeah, you probably have to clean that up.
Ravonna commands Miss Minutes to remove restrictions on the forming of the TVA. That's when I knew she was lying then when she did that. I was like, I don't know if she's really gonna go through with all this.
Yeah. I mean, my thing with that is I'm like, okay, I feel that she would have done this already.
Right.
So, I mean, clearly she was stalling for time, and especially whenever like Miss Minutes turned around and was like looking at her, and she's like, kind of like, what do you want me to do, kind of thing. And I mean, I was like, wow, I'm like, they're doing a pretty good job trying to draw this out. Clearly, Sylvie's not as dumb as they think that she is.
It shouldn't be very much longer. I was like, come on, dude. It's a file system. You don't physically have to scroll through it.
Well, and the other thing too is, remember, every single thing that they do is a hard copy.
Yeah, true.
So what is she flipping through?
Right. Stalling. Stall.
Yeah.
So I believe they're lying when they say there's a void spacecraft. But do you think that's true or no?
I don't think so. I think it was like, because she was like, yeah, the void spacecraft, and Miss Min's like, yeah, that thing, right? And you're like, okay, so now clearly this is all being made up. I mean, that would be nice and all, but I mean, in the end, there's no guarantee it's going to work. So I mean, if it existed, why not let her use it? She probably would have just smashed into that barrier between the void, and then that would have been it.
That'd have been the end.
Yep.
So there was all a stall for backup, like we said, and then Sylvie and Ravonna spar, and Ravonna says that she'll put her in a nice time loop, if one of your good memories, if you have any. And Sylvie says, just one. And I'm like, oh, brother. And then she performs Juliet and prunes herself. So that was interesting. I didn't think it worked that way.
Well, I mean, I actually had a feeling she was just going to do it. As soon as she said that, oh, they don't really like prune them, they end up in the back. I'm like, well, take her communicator and just zap yourself, because clearly she stated that no one dies.
So if you do zap yourself, you get to keep it?
Well, and that's the thing is that I don't know, because we see, I don't think.
How did Mobius? We'll get to it, I guess.
The one that Mobius got at the end of this came from Sylvie, which is the one that she took.
Okay. So
maybe
you can hide it somehow.
Yeah, so maybe he just didn't have one on him, which is kind of weird, but I mean, it's possible. We'd have to go back and watch that episode and see what he was doing. Oh, no, wait.
He had hers.
Yeah, he had hers and gave hers back, and she never gave hers to him or gave his back.
Okay.
So he didn't have one at all.
Good one.
See, that's TPE investigative work there.
Yeah, something like that. All right, so the Lokis drink Roxy wine. Do you think they got it from Rocksmart?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And I love how boastful Loki was talking about vanquishing Captain America and Iron Man. And we see the Polybius arcade, Polybius.
Polybius.
In the background. And I looked that up, and it says it's an urban legend that emerged in the early 2000s concerning a fictitious 1980s arcade game. The legend describes the game as part of a government-run, crowd-sourced psychology experiment based in Portland, Oregon in 1981.
Yep, there are people who were supposedly couldn't sleep. They were kind of like mesmerized by it. Then they would come and like think of it as what was that movie with the oh my goodness, why can't they hit the star, like it was like Star Chaser or something like that, where the kid played the video game, like he was playing like a little space fighter, and the space fighter came down and picked him up. They're like, in reality, it's a recruiting thing. Well, this was kind of like a psychological recruiting thing that the CIA apparently had put together, and people swear to this day that they've seen this inside like certain like arcades. There's only like 2 or 3 arcades it was ever found in, and some people swear that they've played it, and then all of a sudden they just disappeared. So I saw this and I was like, whoa, man, they are deep diving like crazy. They're outside of the MCU now, and now they're just going down the rabbit hole of all the conspiracy theories that the normal universe has.
And boastful Loki and alligator Loki, they have a dust up here. And here's what I thought was critical. When classic Loki says he cast a projection of himself that, getting killed, that Thanos believed.
It was so convincing that the Mad Titan believed it.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to discuss that now? What I'm thinking about at the end, or just wait till the end?
Why that he could have like destroyed the image with the reality stone?
No, not at
I
all.
was gonna say because he didn't have the reality stone there at the end. I mean, there's people are still like being like the possibility that Loki is a debris floating in the background still. I mean, it's still debated now.
Interesting. All right, we'll get to it at the end then.
And that what I just said will come back around when we get closer to the end as well.
The Lokis have, I'm sorry, I'm off today. I apologize.
That's
The
okay.
Lokis have but one part to play, and that unfortunately is not a good one. But Loki tells them all about Sylvie, and then he says he's gonna kill Goliath, and they like. I love how they did the pause, and then they just start cracking up. So he's going to go out the hatch, and here we have a whole bunch more Lokis,
Oh,
led by Vote Loki. Sylvie wakes up in a bus when Goliath promptly shows up. And did you know what she did at the beginning, or did you think she was just using her magic?
I actually did not know. I didn't even catch that whenever it kind of circled her and she says that she touched it. I didn't know what was going on until she mentioned it later on. I'm like, oh, okay.
I saw the green come out, and I thought she was just trying to use her magic to do something. I don't know what, but I didn't see her touching it until after I had to do some research. So I was like, okay, I guess that helps explain everything. I wish I would have caught that initially, but I did not. And it's Uber Mobius with our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hula Girl or WandaVision Hula Girl, whichever one.
Thank you.
And then we have the plate nod, license plate nod. This is the Easter egg that Wayne came across by accident, because him having me research this helped me find all this. So this is a nod to Marvel writer Mark Gruenwald, who was the inspiration for the character Mobius in the comics. He created Goliath and was from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. That's where the Renaissance Fair took place in episode 2.
And also keep in mind this vehicle is their from Pizza Planet, which is all the Pixar movies where this is all featured in there. So, I mean, they were just throwing everything. I'm surprised that we didn't get a sink thrown at us, because honestly, they didn't hold back.
Somebody's going to send me one with a still image, and it'll be a sink in the background. I'll be like, oh my gosh. Meanwhile, boastful Loki betrayed Kid Loki, but Vote Loki, who was from the 2016 comics, has no plans of following through with their deal. Now, we'll get to the alligator situation in just a second, but did you get the sense that Vote Loki, he didn't even feel like a Tom Hiddleston character to me?
We didn't get really enough of him to actually realize that. But like when he got his hand bit, that was great. When he's like screaming and just screaming and screaming.
So alligator Loki bites Vote Loki's hand off. Glorious purpose from our classic Loki. The 4 Lokis take off because of the illusion and stuff. And they are called, he also throws that line, Gods of Outcasts. Yep. And that is from Loki number 5, 2019 edition. So bearded Loki, who appeared in their mission brief when they were talking about pruning Lokis in episode 2, he was in this backdrop too, fighting.
Yeah, all of these other characters are all supposed to be different versions of Loki, which I kind of threw me off, because I'm like, they're really just listening to that one. But then when they all turn and they're all fighting for themselves, then it makes a little more sense. But did you see the one that had the helmet and had the bicycle handles as his helmet? I'm like, whoa.
That's a strange Loki.
Yeah, it's a strange Loki.
Mobius and Sylvie discuss the TVA. Sylvie thinks Goliath is the answer because she had touched him. Because I was like, why is she so fixated on them? That's what I was so confused. But when the sailors from the USS Eldridge, a Navy destroyer that was allegedly turned invisible during the Philadelphia experiment, when they show up, they're Goliath's next lunch, because they try all the weaponry on him and that did nothing. to Eliath, so it's time for Plan B. And when that car approaches Mobius and Sylvie, they're like, okay, usually that's marauders and such.
Yeah, they're going down the list and they're like, yeah, they don't typically just stop and start waving.
Alrighty, there's just so many things. I can't wait till they do another action show where I don't have to think about all the extra stuff.
Exactly.
All right, Kid and Classic Loki are curious if Loki is a coward or if he's actually being brave. Sylvie is going to try to enchant Eliath, as we were talking about. And we also see Ronan the Accuser's ship, the Dark Aster, a shield helicarrier, plus
hold on a
the
second.
Thanos copter.
Not a shield helicarrier. It is a Hydra helicarrier.
Same difference, right? From the original Winter Soldier.
Yes. But I mean, it's got the a Hydra logo on.
Nice. And then the Thanos copter from the 1979 Spider Super Stories number 39, where the purple guy used to fly around.
I know. I laughed at that.
I love that. Back at the TVA, Ravana and B-15 talk. She wants to know what drives Sylvie. I'm like, if you don't know that by now, you've been hunting this person this whole time, and you don't understand that? Okay.
Yeah.
And Ravana wants Miss Minutes to get her those files. And did you get a sense that Miss Minutes doesn't really work for Ravana?
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally believe. I mean, when we had the very first episode where she's like, are you an AI? Are you watching me? She's like, a little both, because, I mean, that makes sense.
All right, Mobius and Classic Loki debate Alligator Loki, and they want to know why Mobius will turn on the TVA. I thought that was a good exchange there.
And he throws down exactly what Loki told him in the first episode.
I will burn this place to the ground.
Yep.
I was like, yes. Loki and Sylvie talk, and she mentions that she wants a new outfit, which I found comical. They wonder if their moment was another TVA lie. And then did you think it was believable that she asked him if he was going to betray her?
No, I mean, they're Lokis. I think they're automatically going to betray each other no matter what. So having a reassurance that, yes, I know what you're thinking. No, I don't plan on doing that.
Oh, okay. He's like, I'm not that guy anymore.
Yeah.
And then guess where my mind went?
What?
Wield Mjolnir. You're now worthy. Get it. We could get Loki Thor. That'd be epic. No? Not epic?
No.
What if he does? If he wields it like he did in his audition?
I mean, it'd be funny.
It'd be great.
Yeah.
Just take stock footage from his audition.
and just glue it in here.
They'll be like, why is he so little? They discuss what they might do when this is all over, which usually is a foreshadow that somebody's not going to make it.
And that was an easy one because clearly we were getting enough out of the classic Loki that you knew he was going to die by the end of this.
And I'm actually speaking of Sylvie and our Loki.
Mm-hmm. I'm just talking about the whole party because like it's some of the stuff they do doesn't make sense. Like I understand. Okay. At the beginning, they're like, give the boy respect because this is his world. So that means that this somehow all of this is the young Loki's realm, which I'm kind of curious of how he can determine that. Like, was it really his realm and somehow the whole thing got sucked in, or was he like the first person to end up there or the first person to survive or something? So, I mean, at the end when he's like, okay, we're going to get out of here and where he doesn't want to go, that makes sense. But everybody else, I don't know why they didn't want to go.
Right. Yeah. It made zero sense. That's why I'm wondering. I get to it in a minute. Sylvie had linked to Eliath in the bus, so she's going to try to enchant it. And this is where I had to do my whole rewind because I was like, what? When? And then I saw the connection or whatever. I'm like, what did we see in that little vision? That was weird. So Loki and Sylvie are going for a while Mobius offers a Kid Alligator and classic Loki a way out, but they're staying. And I'm like, did anybody really say that Alligator Loki for sure doesn't want to go?
Well, and I find it funny that only one of them understands what he's saying.
And remember when Mobius was like, I don't remember him coming through the TVA.
Yeah, but that's also showing that there might have been more than one Mobius that was doing this work. So,
Yeah, true.
multiple Lokis have gone through. He hasn't dealt with every single one of them.
No. So Kid Loki gives our Loki a dagger. Can you pronounce the name?
It's more of a short sword, and it's Leviathan.
Nice. Which in Norse mythology is a weapon that Loki forges that has a burning blade.
Yeah, I didn't. I actually did not know that until after catching it in some people's notes, because, I mean, I was like, I got a new weapon. Clearly, it means something. I'll have to catch it later.
All right. So Mobius is going to burn the TVA to the ground, and Loki hugs him. You're my favorite. Which one was he talking to when he said that?
I thought he was talking to Sylvie.
I think he was.
Yeah.
I think he was too. And I was like, man, they're bros, man.
Well, he's leaning over the shoulder and he's like looking straight at her. And he's like, "You're my favorite." So our Loki would have been like, "Oh, he's saying that to me," whenever in reality he was saying it to Sylvie.
You're the superior Loki.
I mean, he does throw that out there, like playing the Loki game of like, you lie, I lie, to get to the truth. I mean, it's funny that they even brought out the thing that we like the most about these two characters being together.
It's hilarious. Mm-hmm. They are funny. Okay, so our Loki distracts Alioth while Sylvie tries to enchant it, but that doesn't work. So classic Loki. He conjures some version of Asgard. And was he so over the top dramatic as he's doing the conjuring to you?
I mean, I could say yes. I didn't think about it being over the top, because I just thought of it being like an older guy, like trying to use his powers at the maximum ability. So, but the funny thing is that they're going along with a large Wizard of Oz thing, a tone towards all of this. So yeah, he makes, oh my gosh, Asgard, but it's kind of green tinted, like the Emerald Castle from the Wizard of Oz. Yeah. So, I mean, there's call outs all over the place. And even if it wasn't a real call out to that, which we probably was, it's enough info for us to just go all over the place with.
Of course it is.
Yep.
Sylvie and Loki now have to team up to enchant it. And Loki seriously doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah. Now, and they're holding hands now. That's how you make magic work.
That's awesome. So they are able to enchant it as allegedly classic Loki gets gobbled up, and just the helmet is there sitting there.
Now,
I was like,
now here's the thing. He's glowing his hands green there at the very end. Is he doing the exact same thing he said that he was doing to Thanos? Because again, there's a scene in the background when we get to the end of this, and the veil has been revealed, that there's something floating in the background. It could possibly be maybe something Loki-ish.
I think so.
Yeah.
Or did he just pretend this whole thing and he conjures up all of this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, he could just come back and then just done that. Instead of turning around and being like, "Here, well, let me do this." And then I can act like I'm helping, but not really be there. Oh, man.
Exactly.
How many times have you wanted something like that?
That'd be epic.
Yeah.
Once defeated, we see a building in the distance, which could be the Citadel. Do you think it's Kang the Conqueror's Citadel, John, or no?
Well, there are two guesses out here. It has a varying look to it, but more than likely it is it's either going to be I forget that character's name. The one who created the Timekeepers and through the comics, like the one who still remains, or I think is what his name is, or this is Kang's Citadel.
Okay. I know you don't think it's going to be yet another Loki.
I mean, it's possible it could be another Loki. But considering the fact that they're using the creature that is basically used against Kang in the comic books, we've got Kang's girlfriend, wife, whatever you want to call her in this. We're already throwing so much Kang stuff at us, like left and right, to kind of just beat it home. I don't know how they could do this and not have Kang at the end of this, because it wouldn't make any sense. I mean, it's like the other one where they kept on hinting at Mephisto, but were they really hinting at it, or were they just throwing out words that would make us automatically want to hint at it? In this case, they actually have done stuff, and they're using characters and they're using words that were specific to Kang. So I'm curious of which way they're going to go. But honestly, if this is the route they're going to go, we just need to make a shirt that we keep on putting bad guys on, just as like, it was Kang slash it was Hart, whatever her name was, that witch,
Agatha Harkness.
It was Agatha. Then
He Who Remains.
Yeah, it is Mephisto.
Yeah,
the entire time.
Nightmare.
Yeah,
behind everything.
Hey, that department we can burn to the ground.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna get burnt to the ground, and he's gonna pop out and get his kablooey gum. Do you want to give our ratings, and then we'll get into some feedback?
Sure. You know what? I'm gonna give this an 8. There was so many Easter eggs through this. I mean, it was just, you couldn't ask for anything more. It was just a smorgasbord of Easter eggs. But I don't know. I thought some of it was kind of loose, and it kind of, I don't know. It wasn't a 10. I wasn't sitting at the end of my seat going like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Oh my God, what's going to happen next? Now, I did jump up at the end of my seat when I saw that Thanos copter. I don't know why such a little thing like that was able to get me so excited. But yeah, the rest of it was needed information and needed plot-driven devices, but nothing that was like, well, I mean, I can't say it was blowing my mind, because it was blowing my mind, but it didn't blow me out of my chair. So okay. 8.
All right. I liked it just a little bit better. It's not a 10, but I'm going to give it a 9 just because I liked some of the cool moments that this had. I really like Loki and Mobius are bros, and the coyness between him and Sylvie is kind of funny, just because they still think each other's like a Loki, so it's not going to last probably, but it's funny. I just like the topical stuff. I don't get into the, who's zooming who and all that stuff, but just the topical relationships I like.
Yeah.
So it's pretty fun. All right, let's get into some feedback.
All right.
The first one was from Wayne, and we kind of already answered no. We didn't answer this at all. I am so sorry. I got that completely wrong. I kind of got 2 of these mixed in. But he said, any idea about the little Easter egg in the first 10 seconds where it was right when the show starts? If you look at the monitors, it mentions a few different things, but right in the middle, it clearly says Oak Island.
Oh, yes. I watched a video on that because I was trying to get whatever information I could find. But yeah, Oak Island was in there. I watched that show, and I know all the back story on it. Do you need me to fill this in?
He just goes on to say that his wife had just finished binging all 8 seasons of the History Channel's Curse of Oak Island, but he didn't see anything on Loki that tied into what the History Channel had talked about.
Yeah, no, it was just mysterious things that were going on, because there's also Vormir is listed up there again, and so I mean, whatever. They're just putting mysterious things that are in there. So, and Oak Island is one of the biggest ones that there are out there. I mean, clearly there's something there, but they just don't have the means to get to it. And of course, why not put that as an additional Easter egg?
That was pretty cool. So, Wayne, I don't think there's any kind of connection that we know of.
Not unless there's a Loki buried in that hole somewhere.
It's a liar. All right, the next one comes to us from Giovanni. After having seen Black Widow and Loki episode 5 in the same day, I'm on MCU overload. What can I say about this amazing episode? Almost perfect. Only some of the dialogue is a little trivial, but visually every frame was like a painting to admire. Furthermore, the trio, Loki, Sylvie, and Mobius, simply perfect. I really hope to see them all together again. 2 questions. Why exactly did classic Loki scream in front of Eliath before dying, "Glorious purpose"? Apart from the reference of episode 1, does it have a specific meaning? That's why I said this was so over the top that I don't think he's really dead.
Well, I mean, that, and the other thing is, as far as they're concerned, Lokis don't have a glorious purpose. They're really just there to die and come back. So I think this was like the first time he can actually saddle up and be like, I'm doing something for a glorious purpose.
Oh, okay. And do you think that behind everything in the castle, there's another Loki variant? What do you think, John?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Honestly, this is up there with like WandaVision with how weird it is. You know, I mean, it could be anything right now. You know, it's not going to be Kang, because we've already got Mephisto wrong. So they're probably doing the exact same thing all over again.
You know what would be absolutely mind melting is if it in the Citadel it was another version of Sylvie and another version of Loki.
Oh, I want it to be like an X-Men character. Let it be like Bishop or Magic.
Somebody.
Yep.
All right. Finally, I believe you should dedicate maybe an entire podcast only to the endless Easter eggs of this episode. No, I think we got them.
Yeah.
So he goes through and talks about the ones, and I think we got them all except for the Sphinx. We did not get that one.
The Sphinx with the nose on it. Yep.
Yes. So that's another reference to Kang the Conqueror.
Yep, because he had that in his Citadel setup.
Okay. I think that's the only one he has that we didn't get. So lastly, he says, can't wait to see the last episode. And I repeat what it already said in my first feedback of episode 1. TV series such as WandaVision and Loki are really at the same quality level of the movies, if not even more exciting and interesting compared to some of the MCU movies.
Mm-hmm.
He's given it a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
I was like, hey, man, that's awesome. Giovanni, we love hearing from you, so thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, I parsed this one down a bit. This is from Maggie. It says, wow, what a wild ride. I love the growth and evolution Loki has shown throughout the season, and it's what I hoped for. His growth echoes what was shown in Thor the Dark World, Thor Ragnarok, and the Avengers Infinity War. So yes, in 5 episodes, they have accomplished what a few scenes in each movie did. It's hard to say what relationship I love more, Mobius and Loki or Sylvie and Loki. Each bring out different sides of him, but I think I really appreciated the playfulness that Loki exhibited around Mobius, that and the obvious desire to please him to win his approval. Poor Loki, his father treated him like crap. His brother basically teased him and didn't take him seriously, at least not until Ragnarok and the beginning of Infinity War. Mobius is like a father figure, brother figure, and friend all in one. What do you think about that, John?
No, I can definitely see it. Father figure, brother figure, all in one. Yeah, it totally. Like, I mean, they click so well because he knows how Loki works, and Loki wants his way, and he kind of just appeases Loki to the, so it gets his way. But Loki's now starting to figure it out. So I agree with this.
All right, some more comments about episode 5 say that we got to see President Loki and a lot of other Lokis all fighting amongst themselves. I loved all the nods to different science fiction shows, the smoke with the glowing dragon head inside that kept chasing people. Both my husband and I yelled out, "The smoke monster from Lost." Yep. That is awesome. It was so nice to see that Mobius, like Loki, was very much alive, and Sylvie pruning herself was a nice twist, though I didn't quite know how she was able to pinpoint where they all were. Oh yes, she found out from Miss Minutes and Renslayer. Hubby and I are now wondering if Miss Minutes is the true villain behind the TVA.
I mean, that's possible, but I mean, someone had to have made her.
Right, true. AI. All right, loved the way Classic Loki and Kid Loki helped our Loki, and all 3 of them seem to have far more self-awareness than the other variant Lokis fighting amongst themselves. I loved the sweet scene between Loki and Sylvie when they were talking together and he conjured up a blanket to keep them both warm. It was so sweetly awkward. I really hope that the writers allow Loki to truly experience love. I was also really happy to see that Mobius was able to make a doorway and presumably get back to the TVA, but will he just get pruned again or have his memory erased again? If that is what happens when a variant finds their way back. What do you think about that, John?
I mean, that's completely possible. Which, by the way, that was something that's kind of weird. So, why does a baby, a miniature frost giant, get cold?
Good point. Good point. Unless he's not real.
Well, no. We know he was playing it up, but for the first part when he had to get the blanket for himself, we're just like,
It was like high school.
Yes.
Yawn, stretch.
He's readjusting the rearview mirror.
All right, cliffhanger. Loving this series. My only quibble is that I wanted to see many more scenes with Loki and Mobius doing stuff at the TVA, as well as more conversations and sweet awkwardness with Sylvie. This season really should have been 8 to 10 episodes at least, but that would probably have been too expensive. Oh well, I am so happy with what they have given us so far, and I cannot wait for episode 6. And that's from Maggie. Thank you for sending that in.
Yeah, no, you know what? I couldn't agree more. I mean, I can go for like either 8 or 10 episodes. And I don't think when it comes to this, money is any kind of question. They know that they have a hit on their hands. So they can make as many episodes as they want. They're just, I mean, it's really all depends on what the actors feel like doing. So, I mean, maybe when they pitch this, they don't want to like drive it into the ground with the character, which would make sense.
Right. That's true.
Still doesn't mean that we don't want more episodes.
That is true. We've got one more message, and it's from Elizabeth, and then she has something in the spoiler zone, too.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Hank and John. While I enjoyed this episode, did Loki get too emotional? What do you think?
No, I think he got more emotional in the last episode whenever Mobius was telling him that Sylvie was dead.
Okay. If Renslayer isn't the villain, who is? I think we've covered that fairly well. Our guesses, anyway.
Yeah, it's Mephisto.
Not Mephisto. Were the blue stomach floating ball animals supposed to be anything? I couldn't find anything on them. Did you, John?
No. As far as I know, they were just something that someone stuck in there. They don't actually pertain to any kind of comic book or anything that's related in the MCU.
Okay. After seeing politician Loki in the earliest trailers for the series, I was hoping to see more of his story. Yeah, me too. But he seemed, like I said earlier, he almost seemed like he wasn't Tom Hiddleston. He was just like, he didn't really have much to him.
Well, I mean, we didn't have that much of a part though. So it's not like, we had to spend an hour like listening to him. We saw him for all of like 5 seconds.
Right. And he just did all the typical Loki stuff.
Yep.
But thanks for helping me process all of this. And that's Elizabeth. Elizabeth, thank you. You bring up some excellent points. And your spoiler zone question or idea or question is awesome. All right, John, anything else before we hide behind the spoiler zone curtain?
I mean, I hope we don't spend any more time in this void like this. I don't. It's so tiring going through all these Easter eggs.
It is. Like please, John, come back, go back home. Don't be on vacation.
Do you remember like we used to watch like movies and like, oh, that one thing in there. There's like maybe like 2 or 3 Easter eggs. Or when we're doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and we're like, oh man, that one item. Yeah, that one item or that one thing. This is just like, I mean, I feel like you need a checklist.
It's like 52 items in this episode alone.
And there's probably stuff that we've missed that the writers have in there, and we just don't know about it.
Most certainly is. I'm sure there is. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this portion of the show. If you're going to join us in the spoiler zone, we'll get there in just a second. But if not, then we appreciate your time. And remember, you can grab your TPE Network gear, including the Glorious Purpose t-shirt or a TV Network t-shirt by heading to tpenetwork.com and just clicking on the little shopping cart But for John, I'm Hank. Until then, we'll see you.
Bye, everybody.
Warning, incoming spoilers. Warning, incoming spoilers. Warning, incoming spoilers.
You've been warned. All right. Elizabeth says this might be something for the spoiler zone. While I didn't see it, I heard there was a leaked publicity photo last year of Loki walking past a movie theater showing Back to the Future. Did either of you hear about this? John, have you heard anything about this?
Nope.
I have not. I was like, what? So I don't know if that's something that is legit or if it's like a leaked script and it's false. So I don't know.
I mean, but what else would he be doing? He's just walking by the theater and that's it?
Maybe all of this was just a mind game ruse. I don't know. I don't know what the end's going to be. It better be a good ending to season 1, though. They try to shortcut us on this show, and I'm going to snap. Anything else you want to talk about behind the curtain?
No. No, because this episode just had so much stuff in it. I mean, we could still speculate on what's going to happen next week, but really, I'm trying to just leave it open because right now my mind can go in too many different directions. Not to mention that, yeah, you're right. I'm on vacation. I want to get back to vacation.
Oh, man, somebody has photoshopped the TVA arresting Marty McFly.
Oh, no.
That's outstanding. I wish that were true.
Oh, wait. I have to send you the picture of where it shows Clark Gregg just tweeted something out or he retweeted something where it shows the just results where it's Loki's shoving his staff through him.
Hey, yeah.
And the next one, it has Loki being disintegrated with him on the ground being like, ah.
So some people are saying that is a thing. I can't believe that would happen though. Like,
yeah, but it's just a scene, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, what else is he doing in this scene? Just walking by a theater? I mean, if that's the case, then yeah, that's completely possible.
I don't know. I don't know if it's. I don't know. Well, I don't know. We'll keep our eyes peeled for in the next episode.
I mean, we're gonna find out in just a few days.
T-minus. Oh, I love this series, so it's a lot of fun.
Yep, and I got to go and watch Black Widow. Hopefully, I'll get out tonight or either tomorrow.
Good. I already watched it this morning.
And was it every single thing that you thought that you saw, or did any of it change your mind?
They changed a few things.
Okay.
A few things are different than what I thought.
Okay.
So they are smart. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, that's going to do it for real.
All right, everybody.
All right. See you next time, guys.
Yep. Bye.